We began the second plenary, and we began it with such a gift. The gift is that we will hear from Dr. Martha A. Dawson, who is serving as one of the co-chairs for this convention. Dr. Martha Dawson is the 13th president of the National Black Nurses Association, Incorporated. The NBNA's mission is to serve as the voice for Black nurses and diverse populations, ensuring equal access to professional development, promoting educational opportunities, and improving health. The National Black Nurses Association was organized in 1971 by Dr. Loretta Sams, former dean and professor of nursing, the School of Nursing at Tuskegee University. NBNA is a nonprofit organization incorporated on September 2nd, 1 year after its founding in Ohio. It represents 150,000 African-American registered nurses, licensed vocational and practical nurses, nursing students, and retired nurses from the United States, Eastern Caribbean, and Africa. There are 92 chartered chapters in 35 states. Our sister, Martha Dawson, earned a Doctor of Nursing Practice. She is serving as an assistant professor at the University of Alabama at Birmingham School of Nursing. Her career spans more than 40 years in nursing and health services. She's a two-time graduate of the University of Alabama School of Nursing, where she earned her Bachelor of Science and Master of Science from that institution. During these incredibly challenging times, when the COVID-19 pandemic continues to disproportionately affect our Black community, we know so well that providing the priceless care and attention of nurses, they are our heroes and sheroes. Finally, and importantly in this introduction, we are so proud that the National Black Nurses Association is an affiliate organization of the National Council of Negro Women. Dr. Dawson, we have waited for this. The mic is yours.
Thank you so much. To the chair, Dr. Janetta Cole, and to my co-chairs, Dr. Kimberly Jeffries Leonard, President of the Links, and Ms. Priscilla Murphy, President of Chi Phi Sorority for Black Nurses. To the officers and to the board, I am delighted to be here today. And most of all, I want to honor all of the members and all of the local leaders. This is a great time for us to be in this space. And I want to say, we have to continue to do good work. When I think about your theme, which so well aligned with NBNA theme, a call for resilience and resurgence. Our theme for this year was nursing resilience in education, in research, in entrepreneurship, and in practice. So you can see we had the same kindred spirit. Moving forward, we had no idea that we need to be so resilient during COVID-19. But I don't want to really focus on COVID-19 today. We've heard so much about that. What I want to talk about is, so where are we going from here? What are we going to do next? I'm reminded of Frederick Douglass, a statement he made in 1866. He stated, "Peace between races is not to be secured by degrading one race and exalting another race, by giving power to one race and withholding it from another race, but by maintaining a state of equal justice between all classes." We find ourselves not just in a pandemic, but we're in a triple pandemic. We have COVID. We have Black Lives Matter due to police brutality. And we're fastly entering the flu season, something that is unknown. But if I think long enough and hard enough, I could very easily become depressed. But my sisters, that is not my role today. For we have a right to be resilient, to lift our heads up. But we stand on the shoulders of giants. What I want to do is bring your mind in. And I want to just go back to my own roots biblically. And I want to talk to you for a moment about Psalms 23. "The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want." This means he guides me, he protects me, and he provides for us. He allows us to do the work that we have been called to do today. He is our warrior, and he fights for us. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. In other words, he provides a place for us to rest and to recover. There is a reason that he leads us beside the still waters. According to Job 14:9, it says, "Even at the scent of water, a dying tree can live again." I have never smelt water, but if it's said that I can live just by the scent of water, just think about it. I can say to my depressors, I don't need to drink out your fountain, because just the scent of water is going to renew me. I can just imagine being in that green pasture, something that is going to nourish me. We hear it all the time now about the importance of a green space. Well, our Father already knew we needed that green space. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Our soul gives us hope and strength to journey to these unknown places and still be resilient, feel that we are blessed. And for the sake of righteousness, we will overcome. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod, staff, they comfort me. We are here today to comfort each other. We get to hold on to what is ours. We get to claim it. We're not going to stop in the valley of death. It said that we walk through it, because it is only a shadow of death. It is not death itself. So as we walk through it with our head high, our shoulders back, a smile on our face, and a pep in our steps, we're being resilient. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. my cup runneth over. They don't know why I still look so healthy. They don't understand why I'm still strong. When I look in the future and I see my brothers and my sisters owning some oil well, not just working on them. When I see a table running over of fine food, fruit, and everything else in between, my enemies don't know how I got there, but I do. Because it's my sisters and my brothers holding me up. It is us walking hands in hand. It is us doing what our forefathers taught us to do. Never give up, never bow down, and keep marching on. So what do we have? Today, we have come together united, still fighting. Strong women, standing on the shoulders of our grandmothers, our mothers, our aunts, our cousins. We're Black and brown women, and no, we are not going to apologize for being us, for standing strong. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our life, and we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Eyes cannot see what the Lord has prepared for us. We have the spirit to fight, the education to make a change. I know many of you have your BSN, your MSN, your PhDs, your MDs, your DDS, and on and on. But you know what? We have something better, stronger than our academic degrees that have prepared us for such a time as this. We have our faith. I know we have been here for a long time, and some saying, you keep depending on your faith, when are you going to give up? No, our faith has brought us this far, and our faith will take us on. Because I want you to know, you have degrees that are better than the academic degrees. We have our BAC, we're born again Christians. And we have our BAB, or we're born again believers. We have an MS, a master's in sanctification. We have our PhDs of philosophy and the holy doctrine. And these things will get us wherever we need to go. And we have each other. We are Esthers. We were put in these places for such a time as this. With over 26 or more African-American presidents in this space today, we have a voice. So we can rise up, we can step up, we can speak up, we can step out. We are resilient. We are leaders of change. And we will not be denied. My sisters, as we lock arm in arm, as we march through what some see as a dark space, but we see as light at the end of the tunnel, because we know we're going to make it with each other. None of us are going to give up. We're not going to stop the fight. And we have to stay in the fight. Because when I continue to look at the statistics of COVID, yes, there's a disproportionality. When I look at the number of children that have died from COVID, and 73% of them are African Americans, I want to know why. And I cannot rest and just say it is due to pre-existing conditions, unless you're going to tell me that the white majority, there are none of them with high blood pressure. None of them have diabetes. None of them have renal failure. I demand better science, better answers. We demand to be heard, to be seen, to be recognized, and to be respected. To you, my sisters, and you are all of us, and in all of us are you. I, as the president of the National Black Nursing Association, stand with every one of my sister organizations saying whatever I can do so we can make this journey together, so we can rejoice together. And I tell you, in the midnight hour, when you're feeling bad, you think it's going to get worse. I want you to just do one thing. Step out your bed, stand for a moment, and if you can, just dance. Just dance. Because you're not alone, and we're here with you. And I thank you for this opportunity to be on this journey with so many outstanding, excellent African American females. I will not let you down. I'm here to support you. And I want you to know you're all Esthers. So let's go out there and go to the king and get the king to change his heart. Thank you.
My, 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 my. We just asked something of you. Inspiration. And you certainly delivered it. Thank you so much, Sister Dr. Dawson. Thank you. The first item of business now that we are inspired and fortified is the second report of the Credentials Committee. You may go to your convention program for the purpose of recording and reading, or for the purpose of reading about this second Credentials report. I would now like to recognize again the Honorable Patricia Lattimore to present the second Credentials report. Sister Lattimore, may we hear from you?
Yes, Madam President. I am sending you the list of names of the voting members of the 59th Biennial Convention who have been registered up until 12:30 p.m. today, September 25, 2020. You have national officers in attendance 16, national affiliate delegates 73, standing committee chairs 11, section delegates 285, life members 494, legacy life members 126, for a total voting delegate cadre of 1,005. Non-voting members and guests 768, exhibitors, companies, and sponsors 65, staff 11, for a total number of participants of 1,849 for the biennial NCNW convention. I would like to, on behalf of the Credentials Committee, move that this revised roll of delegates hereby submitted be the official roll of voting members of the 59th NCNW Biennial Convention.
That is a very impressive report. We are over 1,000 folks strong. The adoption of this report does require a majority vote if there are any objections. Are there any objections to this report? I am waiting to receive a signal that there are hands. Anyone wishing to speak, to object to the report that the Honorable Lattimore has just presented? With no
Madam Chair, there are 4 hands.
Right.
And they're on the meeting side, so I'm getting that information from Summerlin. So our first hand raised is from Sister Annie Jackson. If you could please unmute. Again, Annie Jackson. Okay, if she's still trying to unmute, the next one is from Miss Peola McCaskill.
Miss P?
If you could please unmute. The next hand is coming from Miss Jewel Hodge. If you could unmute, please.
While we're waiting, I'm just trying to be anticipatory, wondering if our assistant parliamentarian, Loretta Tillery, might have a comment since the parliamentarian's hand was raised. Is there something that we need to know, Loretta?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
since we adopted the credentials report this morning so we could officially go on, could this be for information? And we do have a report at the last session too. So this could be information for us so we wouldn't always have to be voting, since we did vote this morning, and which would allow us to go on officially.
Thank you, Dr. Thelma T. That is what I meant when I said, if there are no objections, there's no need to vote.
Yes.
Even though there may be questions, I think we can move on and still feel that we are accommodating our sisters. So let me assume, please, that there are no concerns and objections. We will move on, accepting the report. The next item of business is consideration of the proposed bylaws amendments. Now, we do need to hear from our parliamentarian. Sister Peola, you will present the proposed bylaw amendments. The technology team should please unmute Miss P. Miss P, you need to unmute yourself. I'm going to ask if our assistant parliamentarian, Loretta Tillery, are you able to unmute at this moment?
The assistant parliamentarian is trying to close both of them out to reopen for you, Madam President.
All right. I will now hear a motion from anyone to accept the report of the bylaws committee. May I have that motion?
This is Beverly Smith. I'll make a motion to accept the report of the bylaws committee.
Thank you. Thank you. May I have a second on that motion, please?
Yes. We have, sorry, Kimberly Jeffries Leonard's hand is raised.
Good.
I second the motion.
Thank you. The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, what was the recommendation of the bylaws committee? Did they recommend that they not be accepted?
No. They recommended that we not read all of that material aloud.
But what was their recommendation as a committee?
Can you answer that, Loretta or Ms. P? If I heard correctly, and if I didn't, I am reading from what is in front of me. I'm assuming that Ms. Peola said, Madam President, in the essence of time, since laws have been distributed to every delegate, I move that the proposed bylaws not be read aloud. Does that answer your question, Dr. Thelma T?
No, that does not answer my question. I saw it flash on the screen that they had recommended that the bylaws proposed not be adopted. That was the clarification.
Then
Oh,
we
and
do
I'm
need
sorry.
clarification, because that is not what my script says.
Okay, I saw it go across there. Thank you.
So for clarification, this was not a motion on the acceptance of the bylaws, just that we not read them all. That's what I was making the motion for.
So if you will retract that motion, because what I think I'm hearing, could you state it again, Dr. Thelma T, what you're hearing?
I go across the screen and I thought I heard the bylaws committee articulated earlier that the bylaw report, they were recommending not adopting these proposed bylaws. And that's what I was asking for clarification. Is that the recommendation of the bylaws committee? If so, that should be the motion, to accept the recommendation not to adopt the bylaws.
All right. I'm going to go with you, Dr. Daly.
This is not to be amended.
If that's the case, then I would
An
retract.
amendment?
And that, if that's the case, I would retract my motion.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. Now, since my national president has taken back her motion, I'm sorry, I'm just not able to hear.
I'm not either.
What I'm going to assume, however, is that Dr. Daly has got some information coming in from above. And at the correct point now is that, having read these proposals for changes in the bylaws committee, chaired by parliamentarian McCaskill, proposes that we not adopt what has been proposed. Is that correct, Dr. Thelma T? Unmute. Unmute, Thelma. Thelma.
Guess the motion would be move to accept the recommendations of the bylaws committee. Move to accept the recommendations of the bylaws committee would be the proposed motion.
I'm going to take that motion from you, Dr. Thelma T. Having lovingly received it, may I please have a second to that motion?
I will second that motion, Dr. Cole.
No, President, thank you. All of these presidents, thank you. It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Then I call for the question. Now, once again,
Okay.
we're going to have to vote. Am
All
I
right,
right?
Madam Chair, I'm
Yes.
just trying to confirm, given the fact that we're still in two spaces, I'm trying to confirm if there are any hands. So Summerlin is trying to let me know if there's still hands raised regarding this. There are no hands raised in the room that I'm seeing. So she is getting back to me. So if you don't mind holding,
I
just
will be patient.
there are, and apologies for that, but there are a few hands that are raised. And so I am hoping, if we are unable to hear the responses, then we're going to get Summerlin to repeat those, or some way we'll get them to you. Annie Jackson is the first person.
All right, may we hear from you, please?
And if there are any comments, if you could send those, please, via the chat, wherever you are, whichever room you're in, if you can send the comment via the chat, we will make sure that everyone is able to hear. Because apparently Dr. Cole, as the presiding officer, is not able to hear all of you. So if you could also put your comment in the chat, all of the hands, and apparently there are 9 of them, we will make sure that that they get read, if that is your pleasure, Madam Chair.
Yes, it is my pleasure. And let me try to be as clear as I can. And if I'm not clear, I know I can count on Dr. Thelma T. to clarify. And if she dares to fail, then I know Dr. Paulette is going to straighten it out. So it's my understanding that the Bylaws Committee does not recommend the adoption of any of the proposed bylaws. Please send comments on this through the chat. My sisters, in case you need to be reminded, there's this little icon at the bottom of your screen. It says chat. Click on it. It'll go, something will pop up to the far right of your screen that says chat at the top. Then you simply type in your comments.
And just to be clear, Madam Chair, the wording was to adopt the recommendations of the Bylaws Committee, because I think they were referring one to a committee. So if we're adopting the recommendations, it's a positive motion rather than a negative motion. The positive motion is to adopt the recommendations of the Bylaws Committee.
And because of the circularity here, their recommendation is not to accept any of the recommendations proposed about the bylaws.
I don't understand this at all.
Dr. Paulette's head going.
Holy cow.
Dr. Thelma T's head going. You might as well join and make it a threesome.
I can't hear on the other one, and nothing is being done here.
All right. Where we are now, we must do a vote. Am I correct? The vote is on what has been recommended by the Bylaws Committee, namely, not to adopt any of the proposed recommendations.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Okay, I was just trying to confirm with Summerlin. It seemed just to confirm whether there was anything in the chat or Q&A, but she is not, there is nothing related to this. So do you
see in the chat, Sister Director Janice Mathis, to everyone?
Yes.
That is a correct understanding.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The motion that I see for us to vote on says that it is a motion to accept the Bylaws Committee recommendation. And you're saying that recommendation is to not accept the motion. So what we're voting on, I want to make sure I'm clear now, is to not accept any of the recommendations of the Bylaws Committee.
No. You are voting on the recommendation of the Bylaws Committee. What is that recommendation?
Yes.
That recommendation is not to accept any of the proposed changes in the bylaws.
Mhm.
So if
I
you
got you.
look at it this way, remove the bylaws committee for just a moment. And what we're saying is you're voting not to accept any of the proposed bylaw changes.
Right. I think we're saying the same thing. Thank you.
If we're saying the same thing, I think we can get through this.
Well, we are saying the same thing.
I'm counting on you now, my national president, to make that motion.
You're counting on me to make them. Okay, so I am,
Remember, did we have a motion on the floor?
we
Yes.
do.
We
Yes.
do have a motion on the floor.
We do, and I'm reading from the motion. That's why I wanted to be sure. The motion that was sent to us to vote on says the motion is to accept the bylaws committee recommendation. That recommendation is to not accept any of the proposed changes.
Excellent.
Hi,
Don't say
it's
anything
Kelly
else.
Price. I received an email about the bylaws, accepting or not accepting the recommendations. Did you guys receive them too?
That's what we're referring to. We're referring to that email. I'm reading what that motion says in that email. That invitation to vote, which is the email that you click on to vote, indicates that the motion is to accept the bylaws committee recommendation. Their recommendation is to not accept any of the proposed changes.
Exactly. All right. There's a motion on the floor. It has been seconded. Am I correct? Will someone call for the question? We are now,
Call for the question.
But it is correct.
I think that was Dr. Paulette. Say it again.
That was not me, Madam Chair.
Sorry.
Kimberly Jeffries Leonard calling for the question.
Calling for the question. All right. We now are ready to practice democracy. We're going to vote. I think once again, Sister Elsie, explain this process, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The ballot has been sent to you to try to expedite the time. So if you could please prepare to vote. I know that some of you already have the email, so make sure that you can retrieve it. Again, look in your chat. I'm sorry, your spam. Look in cast your vote and press submit. You will have 5 minutes. Vote now, please.
Recommendation is not to.
I just saw 0000. May we please have a report on the vote? Sarah Elsie Cooks Holmes, you are muted.
Madam Chair, we were closing the poll and checking the results. So we were right with you. Okay, so the results of the voting on this motion, 419 for, 61 against.
The motion passes. Thank you all for your patience. We're almost there. The next item of business is the report of the Resolutions Committee, ably chaired by our historian, Dr. Alotta Taylor, accompanied by Ms. Sharon Glasgow. I think it is Dr. Taylor who will present the report of the Resolutions Committee. Or is it the two of you? I am not sure.
It'll be the two of us.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, delegates, members. It's an honor and a pleasure to present our resolutions for the next 2 years. I had hoped that they would be presented on the screen, but we'll just present them. So we received we have 8 resolutions. We'll give you the title and we'll give you the resolution. So the first one is a STEM resolution. Be it resolved that the National Council of Negro Women shall urge affiliates and community-based sections to identify ways to encourage African-American youth to explore their potential in STEM fields in conjunction with STEAM. Be it resolved, NCNW will foster collaborations with like-minded organizations to develop programs throughout our communities. Be it finally resolved, NCNW shall further encourage parents, close relatives, and educators to provide exposure to STEM and STEAM opportunities earlier, while in K through 12, and to rigorously encourage them to prepare and pursue STEM in high school and college. The second one is on health. Be it resolved, the National Council of Negro Women will work vigorously and tirelessly to impact public policies to bring about healthcare equity for African Americans and to educate and facilitate healthy personal and social behaviors in the African American community. The third is for healthcare for pregnant women. Be it resolved, NCNW will urge policymakers, healthcare professionals, and government officials to expand access to quality, affordable private health insurance, and public health coverage by allocating federal and state funds to support women's health from conception to postpartum care. Be it resolved, NCNW will urge policymakers, healthcare professionals, and government officials to institute healthcare protocols that are equitable, culturally competent, patient-centered, and responsive to all women's needs to eliminate systemic racism and reduce disparities in pregnancy-related deaths and address social determinants of health to eradicate factors that adversely affect healthy, pregnant, and birth outcomes. Be it finally resolved, NCNW will support maternal and child health research and collectively take action to end the maternal and infant health crisis that has a devastating effect on underserved families of color. Together, we will leverage our respective resources and partnerships to advocate for health and bright futures for all moms. The fourth one, criminal justice reform for women. Be it resolved, the National Council of Negro Women members will monitor and advocate for the equitable implementation of the First Step Act provisions within the federal prison system. And be it further resolved, NCNW members will research and determine the policies within their respective state and/or local correctional systems, contact and lobby state and local jurisdictions for the adoption of the provisions of the First Step Act affecting women. Be it final resolved, NCNW members will further advocate and lobby for the implementation of post-prison life programs for women, such as drug treatment, educational skill training programs, and make available mental health treatment. I will now turn it over to Sharon Glasgow, the co-chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Voting Rights Act and voter registration. Be it resolved, the National Council of Negro Women commemorates the centennial anniversary of the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which granted the right for all women to vote. Be it resolved, NCNW will continue its steadfast leadership in harnessing the power of Black women's organizations as they make positive changes in the lives of Black Americans and other minorities. Be it resolved, NCNW will continue to encourage its members to advocate for the restoration of Section 4B of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 to resist attacks of voter suppression by states and localities. Be it finally resolved, NCNW affiliates and community-based sections across the United States and around the world will strive to increase Black women participation in their local and state elections by 15% by 2025. 2020 census count. Be it resolved, the National Council of Negro Women is committed to registering our communities to vote in the 2020 presidential election, and we are committed to communicate the importance of completing the 2020 United States Census. Renaming the Edmund Pettus Bridge in honor of Congressman John R. Lewis. Be it resolved, the National Council of Negro Women is in support of renaming the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, in honor of Congressman John R. Lewis. Be it resolved, NCNW encourages all affiliates and community-based sections to promote and sign the John Lewis Bridge Project petition in support of renaming the Edmund Pettus Bridge to the John R. Lewis Bridge. Be it finally resolved, NCNW urges all affiliates and community-based sections to contact your congressional representatives to pass the legislation to rename the Edmund Pettus Bridge to the John R. Lewis Bridge. Police accountability and racial injustice. Be it resolved, the National Council of Negro Women will continue to raise the consciousness of the communities through educational programs that promote awareness and prevention. Be it resolved, NCNW believes that every American should expect family members will return home safely and not be harmed and/or killed by police for senseless, manageable incidents. Be it resolved, NCNW stands together as an ally with the Black community and other like-minded organizations across the country to oppose and negate racism, prejudice, hatred, and exclusion. Be it further resolved, NCNW will collaborate with community leaders across the table to educate and promote unconscious bias training and equity of police stops, frisks, and profiling. Be it finally resolved, the National Council of Negro Women will work vigorously and tirelessly to advocate for the public policies that will rectify these and other race-based injustices in the criminal justice system at the local, state, and national levels, and to advocate for prison resources to be shifted to education initiatives in underserved communities. Respectfully submitted, Dr. Alotta Taylor, myself, Sharon Glasgow. Thank you to all of our contributors. Madam Chair, that completes our report.
And our thanks to you, co-chairs, Dr. Alotta Taylor, Ms. Sharon Glasgow. I must say I found myself moved as I listened to each of you reading these resolutions. They just capture the importance of the work that we are doing. It says so clearly, we will not rest until there's full civil rights and women's rights. May I now receive a motion to accept the report of the Resolutions Committee? Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, Paulette Walker's hand is raised.
The chair willingly listens to Dr. Paulette Walker.
Dr. Walker, please unmute.
Sorry, I'm sorry, thought I had. Madam Chair, I move to accept the Resolutions Committee's report.
Thank you, Dr. Walker. May I have a second, please?
Madam Chair, I'll second the motion. This is Beverly Smith.
Thank you very much for that second. It has been properly moved and seconded to accept this report from our co-chairs. Is there any discussion? I'm looking at the chat box. I see no one there.
And I'm checking with Summerlin to look at the other one. There is one hand raised, Johnny Walker.
All right. The chair would like to give the floor to Ms. Johnny Walker.
I was going to make this second motion, but somebody beat me to it, so it's okay.
All right. Thank you for your willingness to do so. I'm going to call for the question.
Say with recommendations for a job well done by that committee, those Alotta and Sharon, they did a fantastic job.
I think you will get a lot of heads in agreement. It was, as I said, to me, a moving report. All right, my sisters, for the last time this afternoon, you're going to practice democracy and vote. Please vote as expeditiously as you can. You have 5 minutes to do so. We are almost about to adjourn. 5 minutes to vote. The 5 minutes have passed. We await hearing from our sister Elsie Cook Holmes.
All right, the time is closing now. The results will be there momentarily. Madam Chair, there
Yeah.
are 500 votes for, 2 votes against.
Oh, that is an impressive vote. Thanks again to our resolutions committee. I should probably make a public apology to the Honorable Sister Pat Watkins Lattimore because I called on her early to give instructions on the elections process because I was trying to use our time efficiently. But I know her well. And even though I called on her early, you got a sterling report. I do believe there is no need for additional information about the elections process, but it is very important. And so I'm going to take 2 minutes to see if anyone through the chat box or by raising a hand or however you're signaling it, if you are uncertain about this process, in which case Pat will go over it again.
Madam President, may I make a quick statement about our election this evening?
That would be terrific.
We've adjusted the schedule for voting to start at 4:15 instead of 3:15 p.m., but it will end promptly at 7. The results will, as scheduled, will be shared in plenary 3. The successful officers will be sworn in on Sunday, September 27th at the morning plenary. And those positions where there is no contest will not be on the ballot. Those individuals will be declared elected by affirmation. The remaining positions will be on the ballot. I ask that everyone check their email and follow the voting challenges email if you experience any difficulties. That's it, ma'am.
It's very clear to me. I am going to assume clarity. If you have some issues, you're not clear, my sister, Special Assistant Summerlin, I know we're working her overtime, but email Summerlin. She knows how to get to Honorable Patricia Lattimore. We will answer your questions. Having said all of that, my dear, dear sisters, I am now going to ask if our Sister Executive Director, Attorney Janice Mathis, will grab the mic, and if she will introduce the panel discussions, the workshops, the other activities scheduled through the evening. At the conclusion of her informational report, we are going to recess when I bang this gavel until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Sister E.D.
All right, thank you, Dr. Cole. What we want to do now, ladies, is we have some powerful information for you. And we know that you've had a busy morning and you're probably yearning for a break. But we've got a panel on healing our children from COVID-19, healing our children from trauma of COVID-19. And that panel is led by our very own Dr. Tamara Lawson, and she's got some amazing guests. So just go back to the lobby, click on the agenda, and select Healing Our Children as your next activity that begins right now. Following that, of course, you've heard the elections announcement. Following the panel discussion, there will be 5 concurrent workshops. Developing STEAM programs with Dr. Alotta Taylor. Communications and Technology with Kevin Johannes and Ariane Jamerson. Cradle to Prison Pipeline with Ariana Brazier and her mother, Julia Brazier. You don't want to miss that one. Financial Management with Constance Newman, Linda Bagley, Loretta Tillery, and Parliamentary Procedure with Dr. Tina Davis. These are all worth your time and energy. Then this evening, we have a virtual town hall meeting and protest in our voices, raising our voices in protest, power in our votes, featuring Marsha Fudge, Congresswoman Marsha Fudge, Cora Masters-Berry, Hillary Shelton from the NAACP, Deborah Ketching-Smith, our sister beloved, Rebecca Phillips, and the Honorable Kwesi Mfume, moderated by Paulette Norvell Lewis. That begins at 7 p.m. tonight. And then finally, Caring for Ourselves, Meditation, Mindfulness, and Joy with Dr. Tony Lewis, and featuring the brand new NCNW coloring book, yes. Meditation and Peace and Purpose Meditation Coloring Book. We've got a full evening. We know you've already put in a full day, but please stay for these workshops and other activities. Thank you, Dr. Cole, and thanks to all of our affiliate and board members. We appreciate you.
How's your doctor's appointment
today.
My sisters, are you ready? We are adjourned.